I want you to be wise in the sense that you see through stuff. I want you to get used at looking at the bigger picture. Why? Because you need this ability to see through deception. Okay, let me give an example. I used to attend a church where many former drug addicts were in the ministry. They even became pastors. And the story was those people used to be addicted to drugs or they were addicted to violence. They were often on the streets causing trouble. One day, the Lord Jesus touched them and their lives were changed. And now they serve the Lord, they become pastors. Very quickly, they got married, had kids, had well-paid jobs. And it all sounded so good. But when I began to think about it, I thought about it a while back. But the past days, I began to reflect back on it and began to think, hold on a minute. This is weird. In the world, I'm not talking about beliefs, so in the world, when there's a drug addict and a drug addict wants to become clean, the social workers that are assisting and helping the drug addict that's in rehab, they often face resistance. Not that the drug addict, because the drug addict really wants to get clean, but often it's the relatives, the people close to the addict, that resist his or her recovery. Why? Because those people developed a name for themselves. They developed a sense of self of themselves at the expense of the drug addict. They think to themselves, well, I went through a lot of troubles in life, but I never went to coke or I never went to drinking. So they feel good about themselves in comparison to the drug addict or to the alcoholic, or anyway to the addict. So that sense of self of theirs, them feeling good about themselves, depends on the addict being an addict. The moment the addict recovers and is not an addict anymore, that sense of self will disappear. And not only that, now they need to face that narcissistic attitude of theirs. And now need to face other stuff about them and around them also. They don't want to go there. So when the addict is in recovery, those people will seek to hijack the recovery of the addict. Because they have their statements, once an addict, always an addict, once a thief, always a thief. And they want to be validated for those statements. They don't want to examine them. So if an addict or a thief recovers and is well, then their statements that they're holding on to is disproven. And they don't want this validation. They don't want to face this. So they will fight, often become violent against the one in recovery. Professional social servants who have experience in rehab clinics, they will tell you this. Often it's the relatives and those close to the addict that will resist the most. Often they, on purpose, will come with temptation to draw the addict back into addiction. And in case of alcoholism, sometimes even the spouse that wants to keep the other spouse in the negative. And that's the world, okay? So if in the world, not separate from Christ, because nobody in the universe can be completely separate from Christ because he's a God, but okay. If even in the world, apart from Christ, because they operate apart from the Most High, if they face difficulty when people are in rehab, then how can it be that those that also went through rehab, but they went into rehab at church, how come they don't face any resistance? How come that they can get jobs very quickly after their recovery? There are people who have diplomas. They have a lot of work experience because they did a lot of side jobs besides studying. There are people who have done internship with excellent resumes and they're rejected at jobs. And that's nothing to do with their skin color, okay? Because there are whites applying for jobs at white employers and they get rejected despite how good the resume is. Such things happen. And now you have someone who lived on the streets or was an addict, who even caused trouble in the community, who even went to jail from time to time. they suddenly get well and they get good paying jobs very quickly. They have no difficulty in finding a mate because the mate just arrives and the kids come very quickly. And people say, it's the Lord, it's the Lord. No, 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 think about it. Christ said, in the world you'll have tribulation. But be of good cheer, I've overcome the world. So there will be tribulation you'll have to go through. And Christ spoke to believers. So how come you had tribulation when you were in the world, and now that you're born again, there's no tribulation at all, everything goes at ease with you? That's not right. That's not biblical. Now, I don't want to talk that much about the church I used to attend. But I'm using that experience as a parable unto you. Look at the context. Okay? Many of those testimonies of people coming to the Lord are fake. I've spoken about this before. They are fake. Why? The enemy wants to give unbelievers the impression that they don't need Christ. So now they have those actors that pretend that they as if they were down in society, but now they're up in society, but they do it in the name of Christ. So who gets the glory? Society gets the glory, because those people fought to get in a good standing in society. They didn't forfeit society in the sense that they gave up seeking self-validation of society. No, they're now part of society, seeking to relieve society from people that used to be like them, so they're doing a service on society. So society, which is a fear construct, is validated, not the Most High. The Most High is not honored. That's the effect. Even if they sing hymns in church, praise the Lord for it, it's really society that's being built up. Because the people that manage to cope in society will feel proud about themselves, and they are hardened, thinking they don't need the Most High. I'm telling you, look at the bigger picture, examine things. Don't just look at the surface. And here's another thing, then we're going to close. If someone is shot, whether it's in the chest or in the head, now the head is a bit extreme, if someone is shot, they're brought to an hospital and the bullet is picked out of the body. Then they need to stitch the skin together. Then the individual has spent maybe a week or two, something maybe even a month to heal. And after the healing, they have to, it's kind of a rehab they have to go through. They need to learn how to operate again. And if they would show the chest or where the impact came, you may see some scars here and there. Maybe not scars of the impact, scars of the operation. It cannot be that someone was shot and the next day they're given an interview, they're smiling. That's not possible. And if someone has been shot, there must be at least some scar somewhere. But if there are no scars, and if there's not even a tiny time period of recovery, then you know it's a hoax. But people often only look at the surface. They only hear the story. They don't put the story in context. I'm telling you, put things in context. Well, that's it for now. Agree with Christ and be at peace.